money is the first one to the meeting and the final.
I'd like to call our meeting to order. It is 6 o'clock and declare that we do have a board quorum present. If you will please stand for our invocation, which will be led by Mr. Reinhardt, and then our pledges of allegiance, which by the Lighthouse Learning Center students.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity for us to gather. This is a special season. Please let us remember the reason for this season, and let each family be blessed in the way that they need to be blessed at this time. We ask that you help us get through the agenda of our business tonight, and that we can all leave here at peace, with peace, throughout the season. Amen. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I take this flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
I'd like to ask the board to begin making its way to the front as we transition into our awards, achievements, and recognitions. And I will now turn our presentation over to Mrs. Carla Christmas.
Good evening, President Howard, Superintendent Massey, board members, staff, and guests. It is wonderful to have you all here tonight. We have students and teachers to celebrate, so it's a great night. At this time, I would like to ask our Director of PTE and Fine Arts, Ms. Amy Pope, to please come up.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Mr. Massey. As the nation faces teacher shortages, Brazosport ISD continues to grow, support, and reward their staff. Tonight, we would like to thank and recognize students who have chosen to join our profession and become educators. Because of this hardworking group of high school students, the education of future students will be possible. The Texas Association of Future Educators, or TAFE, pronounced TAFE, is a co-curricular statewide nonprofit 501c3 student organization created to allow young men and women an opportunity to explore the teaching profession. The organization was created in 1984 to provide the best and brightest high school and middle school students in Texas with the necessary knowledge to make informed decisions about pursuing careers in education. TAFE is one of 9 career and technical student organizations recognized by the Texas Education Agency. TAFE Area 4 includes counties Waller, Harris, Liberty, Chambers, Fort Bend, Galveston, and Brazoria. The Area 4 Regional Conference was held on Saturday, November 12th at the University of Houston Clear Lake. Brazos Wood had 19 students compete at regionals, and 15 of those students will advance to the state competition. Brazosport High School had 11 students competing, and 5 of those students will advance to the state competition. Some events Brazosport ISD students competed in consisted of writing and illustrating children's books for elementary, creating bulletin boards, job interviews, speeches, and impromptu speaking. Many of these contests are complex and require the students to give speeches on topics that are plaguing the education field today. Topics such as teacher shortage crisis and districts moving to a 4-day school week were this year's prompts. These issues are perplexing to even seasoned educators and administrators. But as we know, these students are our future, and their solutions can help us now, but will also prepare for a better future in our field. Finally, they highlighted administrative careers, created portfolios about themselves, and spoke about teacher retention and its importance to the education field. This state competition is March 2nd through 4th, 2023 in Round Rock at Kalahari Resort. At this time, I would like to recognize our wonderful current educators and our future educators. We will start with Brazos Wood High School. If you'll come when I call your name. Mary Jimenez and Cameron Peters are our teachers.
Thank you.
Our student state qualifiers are Michelle Public speaking, Olivia Bonnet and Catherine Odom, children's literature K through 3. Bria Garcia, Layla Morales, Danielle Gutierrez, and Julia Whitlow for chapter yearbooks. Danielle Gutierrez for interactive bulletin board middle school, high school. Lindsay Nichols and James Mann, interactive bulletin board elementary.
Good job.
Liana Galvan, lesson planning and delivery, art. Rosie Rios and Zoe Hamilton, children's literature pre-K. Paulina Solis Rios and Lydia Perez, children's literature Spanish. Lydia Perez also for job interview. And Tammy Stanislaw, teacher created materials elementary.
I need y'all to turn sideways towards each other. There you go, here you go. You come on up here, sweetheart. Right in here. There you go. I like it. Okay, I'm not going to push those a little bit more. Back out, how about that? There you go. I'll take 2 pictures. And then hold in case somebody else wants. And smile. Yes. 1, 2, 3, and again, 1, 2, 3. Hold right there, anybody else? Okay, all right, thank you. Congratulations.
And now for Brazosport High School, Jaime Moreno is our teacher, but Ms. Laban, the assistant principal for CTE, is here, so she go ahead and come on out with her kiddos, as I call them. Leslie Cabrera, interactive bulletin board. Linda Nunez, portfolio. Casey Johnston, portfolio. Alexa Dahl, public speaking. And Yasmin Diaz, researching administration careers.
It is now my pleasure to invite up Assistant Superintendent Rita Cundit and Assistant Superintendent Richard Yo.
Good evening, board members and Mr. Massey. It is my privilege to introduce the elementary essential educator for December. Caitlin Fernandez, if you will please come to the front and join Mr. Massey. Caitlin Fernandez at Nave Pre-Kindergarten is being recognized this evening as the elementary essential educator for the month of December. Caitlin stepped up to help pilot our new pre-kindergarten 3-year-old program this year. As a product of our district's Grow Your Own and clinical teaching program, Caitlin understood the importance of students getting an early start to their education and volunteered to teach the 3s. She collaborated with her administrator to plan, created schedules, and learned a new curriculum resource in order to get the program up and running. We are thankful for Caitlin's dedication to early childhood and appreciate her help in making this perk of pre-kindergarten 3 available to the children of our Brazosport ISD staff members. Congratulations, Caitlin.
Good job. Thank you so much.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, and another. 1, 2, 3.
teacher at Lake Jackson Intermediate, and she was nominated for her strong instructional practices, student-centered classroom, and all-around hard work. As a product of BISD and product of our Grow Your Own program, we are proud Ms. Bass is now with us as an educator. Her hard work and passion for teaching is truly making a difference in our community. Congratulations, Ms. Bass.
This sadly concludes our recognitions for this evening. We will be back in January with more. Thank you all for coming.
At this time, in accordance with BED Local, the board will provide an audience for individuals who have signed up prior to the meeting to address the board. Tonight, we do not have any folks who have signed up, so we will move on to our next agenda item. Our next item is our consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled from the consent agenda? All right, hearing none, then do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented? Moved to accept by Mr. Reinhardt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jerry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, that carries. Next item that we have are action items. Public comments will be allowed before vote is taken on each action item. Our first item is to consider the approval of the audited financial report for the year that ended August 31st, 2022. You don't look like Ms. Kelly.
Yeah. Not quite as confident as her either, so. Good evening. Tonight it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Wade Whitlow, a former Brazoswood High School graduate, here tonight as an audit partner with KM&L, the independent audit firm hired by Brazosport ISD Board of Trustees. He will review the August 31st, 2022 year-end audit report for board approval. A copy of the audit report is included in board book and also printed in front of you.
Thank you, Kaylee. Good evening, trustees. Well, I sound like a broken record each time I get up here, year after year, that when we come here, the audit report that we issue is of the highest quality. And that quality stems directly from the district itself, Rebecca Kelly, Kaylee, and everyone involved throughout the district. Each of them have a hand in producing this product that we're able to issue unmodified opinions on. So large credit goes to everyone within the district as it relates to this report. I also do want to single out Kaylee. This was her first year in a higher position where she took much more of the brunt from myself and our audit manager. And I just wanted to single her out and let y'all know that she did an outstanding job. She went above and beyond to make sure that any questions we had, anything we needed, she was there to get it to us. So a big thank you to Kaylee. Within this audit report, the presentation is no different than it was in the past year. We did have one new accounting principle that was issued this year. It was implemented for the district, but nothing was affected within the financials this year. It's an accounting principle related to the treatment of leases. Now, we went through and audited to determine that there were no leases, so there weren't any leases that met the standard that needed to be presented in accordance with that new standard within the audit report. That could change in future years if there's a lease that meets the standard for the requirements of that, but this year there were none that met that. So I just wanted to make sure that I pointed that out for future reference. We're issuing 3 letters within this audit report. Our first letter is our opinion on the financial statements. We're issuing an unmodified opinion on those. That lets the reader know that what they read after our letter, that the financial statements are materially and factually correct. So an unmodified opinion is a clean opinion. The second opinion that we're issuing, it's in the federal award section, and it relates to compliance with major federal programs. We identified 2 major federal programs this year, the first being the Special Education Cluster, and the second being the funds related to ESSER. We're issuing an unmodified opinion as it relates to those 2 major federal programs, so that's a clean opinion over compliance that the district is receiving. The third letter that we're issuing in here is a report on internal control over financial reporting. With this letter, we're not issuing an opinion on the effectiveness of the controls that are in place for the district, but through our audit process, if we identify any deficiencies in internal controls that rise to the level that need to be reported in this letter, we do so there. We did not identify any deficiencies in internal control, so that's a clean letter that we're issuing within this audit report. Overall, it's our opinion that the district's in good financial, there's a good financial health with the district. The total federal funding received this year is higher than it has been ever, and we all know why, but the total federal funding that we're disclosing in this report in the federal award section, approximately $27.2 million. Now, $12.7 million of that was funding related to ESSER. As a reminder, unless something changes at the federal level, the ESSER-related funding is deemed a high-risk program by the feds. Typically, from an auditing standpoint, if we have a clean program, we don't have to test that once every 3 years. When they tell us you have to deem it a high-risk program, we have to test it regardless if it was audited the previous year cleanly. So it's the expectation, unless something changes, that we will audit the ESSER program again next year, in addition to other programs that meet the requirements for us to audit the compliance on that. We didn't identify any budgeting issues. There were no variances, so all the functions were appropriated properly in here, so that from a budgeting standpoint, everything that we're reporting is clean in here. With that, that's about all I have. I mean, it's nothing but positive news. There's nothing that I need to point out that there's an issue regarding anything going on in the district. I feel like a broken record saying this every year, but I feel fairly confident that if you ask Rebecca or Kaylee, they will say we have been audited. So it's just a testament to their hard work, and with that, I'll take any questions if anyone has them.
We do think ESSER is a high risk. Also, so we're in the same boat.
Any other questions from the board?
No, it's good to hear a good broken record.
Oh, yeah. You can play that one over and over. Any questions from the audience?
I say it every year, it's just glad to see an old Buccaneer football player doing pretty good things.
Thank you, Mr. Whitlow.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Whitlow.
All right, our next item on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. It was such good information.
All right. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the 2021-2022 audit report as presented by the certified public accounting firm of KML.
I'll make that motion.
All right, it has been moved by Jerry and seconded by Mr. Swartner. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, thank you, ma'am. Next item that we have on our agenda is our 22-23 District Improvement Plan First Quarter Report. Mr. Ron Redden.
He's a lot taller than I am. Good evening. In alignment with Board Policy BQ Local and each district goal, it's my pleasure to deliver the report on the first quarter progress made on the district improvement plan. You have a copy of the first quarter formative review in your board book. The district improvement plan, required under Chapter 11 of the Texas Education Code, is a comprehensive plan to improve the district in each of the 5 areas covered by our district goals. The 22-23 plan has a total of 13 performance objectives and 84 strategies that support the district's 5 goals. The board adopted House Bill 3 goals for early childhood literacy, early numeracy, and college, career, and military readiness, and they are included in the plan under District Goal 1. As a district, while we continue to focus on improving Tier 1 instruction in all subjects, greater focus is placed on math and reading performance, with a special emphasis on early literacy and numeracy. Performance continues to improve in both reading and math as campuses work to improve Tier 1 instruction and to offer accelerated instruction for students who lag behind or who did not pass 1 or more STAR tests last spring. Health and safety continue to be a high priority area for the district under goal number 2, along with character education and support for students and families. To support goal 3, work is continuing this year on improving frontline customer service, and with COVID-19 seemingly behind us now, efforts are being made to increase volunteerism and parent engagement. Completing the work on the technology infrastructure upgrade is a high priority under goal 4. And supplemental funding was allocated to campuses to support special programs, the overall instructional program, and efforts to close learning gaps. Lastly, implementation of the district professional development plan and supporting the successful launch of the registered apprenticeship program are priorities that address staff recruitment, support, development, and retention. During each formative review, strategies that support the accomplishment of the performance objectives are evaluated as discontinued, no progress, some progress, considerable progress, and accomplished. Discontinued means that the strategy has been discontinued for this year. No progress means that no progress toward accomplishing the strategy's intended outcome has been made. This is most commonly seen with strategies that are implemented according to a specific time frame. Some progress means that from 5% to 49% of progress has been made toward accomplishing the strategy's intended outcome. Considerable progress means that 50% to 94% of progress has been made toward accomplishing the strategy's intended outcome, and accomplished means that 95% or more of the strategy's intended outcome was met. This graphic illustrates the progress made toward accomplishing intended outcomes during the first quarter. Specifically, 0% were discontinued, 5% were rated as no progress, 35% were rated as some progress, 36% were rated as considerable progress, and 25% were rated as accomplished. The 3 slides that follow list the 21 strategies that were evaluated as accomplished and the 4 that were evaluated as no progress. Now keep in mind that some of the district improvement plan strategies are stacked, so accomplishing the intended outcome of one strategy in the first cycle supports completing strategies in subsequent cycles. For example, under Goal 3, Performance Objective 1, frontline staff had to be trained on excellent customer service before the second and third strategies to monitor customer service, could be implemented. That's what we mean by stacking them. Other strategies are beginning of the year activities that are funded using supplemental funds. We're required to document the use of those funds in our improvement plan. So I'll move on to this slide, and the next 2 slides list those strategies that have already been fully implemented and have met their intended outcome. I'll highlight many of these as I go through the remaining slides in tonight's presentation, so I'm not going to take the time to read through them. The strategies you see listed on this slide are from goals 1 through 3. So I'll move to the next slide. These are the strategies that are from goals 4 and 5, and if you look at that list, you'll notice that there are quite a few that are associated with goal 4. So going back to what I mentioned a while ago, many of those are tied to the supplemental funding, and so they are items or strategies that have to be implemented at the beginning of the school year in order for other strategies and other activities to take place. The strategies that were rated as no progress are listed on this slide. As you can see, 2 of them have progress already being made during the second review cycle. So they were not scheduled to begin at the beginning of the school year, but they are begun in the second cycle, and we're working on them. And then there are 2 others that are spring activities, and they will be implemented after January. We begin the progress report with District Goal 1. During the first review period, district coordinators and specialists supported math and English language arts reading instruction through active monitoring of the Tier 1 instructional priorities that are being implemented in our classrooms. Additionally, work got underway to align industry-based certifications with CTE programs of study to ensure that BISD students will continue to earn credit for having achieved certifications when TEA begins implementation of the new CCMR requirements next fall. To support the families of emergent bilingual students with understanding the opportunities that are available for their children as they transition to high school, the Language Acquisition Department is providing tours of the Brazoswood and Brazosport High School's CTE programs. Under House Bill 4545, 87th Legislature, districts across Texas are required to provide accelerated instruction to students who did not pass 1 or more STAR tests during the prior school year. At the beginning of this school year, with the district providing campuses with access to ALEKS, that's spelled capital ALEKS, for Algebra 1, and ST Math for all other grade levels in order to support accelerated instruction in mathematics. Campuses were also provided with a variety of reading resources to support accelerated instruction in English language arts and reading. To ensure that emergent bilingual identified learners are progressing in their learning, the Language Acquisition Department began conducting classroom walkthroughs and PLCs to monitor instruction and to provide training to teachers. Let's see if I can get this to advance. David, I may need a little assistance with this. Let's go back 1 slide, David, if you can help me there. Well, it doesn't want to go to goal 2, does it? It's going the wrong way. I promise there's a goal 2. I'll go ahead and read it.
Well, just tell us
Okay?
about it.
I'll tell you all about it. This is a great goal, and I want to tell you about it, okay? Especially for Mr. Whitehead's sake. We don't want to miss this one, so I'll go ahead and go wherever it goes next, and we'll go with slide 2. This is goal 2. This slide features highlights from District Goal 2, but ignore the slide. As I mentioned earlier, student well-being and safety remain high priorities for BISD. During the first review period, new to district staff received training on the Standard Response Protocol, student reunification, and Stop the Bleed. And the threat assessment teams from each campus were trained by the Texas School Safety Center. On the Professional Development Day in October, all new counselors received the CSE IT training to identify and assist victims of human trafficking. CSE IT stands for Commercial Sexual Exploitation Identification Tool. The CSE IT screening tool is used to assist professionals in identifying children and youth who are commercially sexually exploited. It has been adopted and endorsed for widespread use across the state of Texas by the Child Sex Trafficking Team in the Office of the Governor. This is a big training and important step for our district. One of the great assets BISD has to offer families in need of support is our partnership with communities and schools. Communities and schools caseworkers are assigned to 11 of our campuses, and they support families all across our district and in a wide variety of resources. One of the caseworkers is actually assigned to a campus but services the entire district. They go around and every campus has access to them. To support positive student behavior and engagement, the strategy to provide 12 behavior techs and 9 behavior specialists who support grade levels pre-K through 8 was implemented during the first review cycle. In addition, campuses continue to implement Capturing Kids' Hearts. To better support the successful outcomes and to reduce the recidivism of students who receive an assignment to the DAEP, a new initiative to put transition plans in place for each student going to or returning from that campus started this fall. Now to this slide. This slide highlights District Goal 3. Last year, it was the intention of the district to provide all frontline staff with excellent customer service training. However, due to circumstances beyond the control of the district, that strategy was discontinued until this year. Frontline customer training was provided during the first review cycle. Also, as mentioned earlier in the presentation, with COVID-19 seemingly behind us, the district is supporting campus efforts to improve parent engagement and to increase volunteerism. While we received very high marks from our volunteers on the district end-of-year survey, one suggestion made by several of our volunteers was to post volunteer opportunities in an easily accessible location on the district website. That was done during the first review cycle. Much has been accomplished under District Goal 4. During the first review cycle, a tremendous amount of work was accomplished on upgrading the district technology infrastructure. In fact, all new circuits have now been installed throughout the district, and the district data center relocation is now complete. Work is rapidly moving toward conclusion on the BISD command center as well. Another strategy, one that has a direct impact on the district's quick response to a crisis, was to launch an app that serves as a mass notification system. That app, QuickAlert, was successfully launched during the first review cycle, and training on how to most effectively use the app is being scheduled this time. The BISD Education Foundation's Grants for Great Ideas program has been a shining star for the foundation. Over the past few years, teachers have utilized grant funding to implement amazing programs and initiatives that have enhanced classroom instruction and improved campuses. The Education Foundation is currently evaluating proposals to be awarded this year, and once again, they have a difficult task ahead of them since they have received many, many excellent requests. The Education Foundation's work does not end there, however. This year, to support and thank teachers at every campus across the district, the Foundation is providing them with a special lunch. As they do every year, the Federal Program Department of the Business Office met with campus leaders during the first review cycle to help them budget their supplemental funds to improve classroom instruction and accelerate learning. Also during the first review cycle, the district began providing support to homeless children and youth by providing them with resources funded through the Texas Education for Homeless Children and Youth grant, and by including them in the overall support provided for all at-risk students. District Goal 5 features the recruitment, support, development, and retention of district staff. One of the best retention strategies was implemented this fall, and it was to recognize essential educators each month. An essential educator for elementary and secondary are recognized at their campus, and as you saw tonight, at a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. Since the beginning of the school year, teachers at various campuses across the district have received deserving recognition for the extraordinary work they do for their students. Another retention strategy was to pay a $1,200 retention stipend to teachers who returned to teach again this year in BISD, which y'all did in September. That was paid out in September. An additional retention stipend, as you well know, for all staff was approved by you all last month, and we thank you for that. Another great initiative, and one that supports teacher recruitment, is the Registered Apprenticeship Program. During the first review cycle, more than 70 apprentices were placed in assignments for the 22-23 school year. To support the Registered Apprenticeship Program, the district applied for grants for additional funding. We're awaiting official word that the district will be awarded those grants. In July, the Board of Trustees approved the Professional Development Plan for the 2022-2023 school year. Implementation of that plan began in August during the teacher in-service period and continued this past October. Last but not least, during the first review cycle, elementary level teachers and administrators continued their work on completing the House Bill 3 reading academies, and they are on track to finally complete them soon. Many other strategies were started during the first review cycle, and they are at varying stages of implementation. I'll return in February to report on the second quarter review of the district improvement plan. Since this is a report-only item, no board action is required. So at this time, I'm happy to answer any clarifying questions the audience or you may have.
Questions from the board? item we have on our agenda are any board committee reports. Do we have any reports from the board? Not everybody wants.
At the next Gulf Coast meeting, we'll have the, we'll have the Raise Your Head Texas, and then in April, we'll have the TASB, so you can get the credits there. if you're interested, so.
All right, our next item is our work session discussion. Our next meeting, a special board meeting, is scheduled for December the 29th, right here at 6 o'clock. And then our next regular board meeting is scheduled for January the 23rd, 2023 at 6 o'clock. We do not have any items for executive sessions, so unless there are any objections,